So this is something that I am very, very passionate about. It's something that's very close to my heart. This is part one of, I think, maybe a 5-part series. I'm not sure. This is, I want to go and I want to break this down as in depth as possible. There's a lot of misinformation that's out there. There's a lot of information that's not out there. And there's a lot of you that are sitting here suffering from this, and it's scary. Like, it's scary to go forward with this. It's embarrassing to go forward with this. But before I get started, the legal disclaimer: I am not a lawyer. I am not a VSO. I am not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to persuade you to do one thing. I'm not trying to persuade you to not do one thing. All of the information that I am going to tell you guys is public knowledge on va.gov. You can find the 38 CFR, and that's all the legal law jargon that it pertains to this. So, real talk is, this shit's tough to talk about, you guys. It fucking hurts. It's gonna invoke a lot of feelings that you've tried to hide. There are a lot of free resources out there, so if you find yourself, this is too much, just turn this video off and come back later. I do not want you guys to get triggered by this, because what we went through was hard enough. Reliving it, that's a whole different story. So just know that, God, I'm here for you guys, and there's a lot of other people that are here for you guys. You can call 1-800-827-1000. You can go and research some free resources that the VA does provide for MST survivors. All right, so with that being said, let's move on. All right, so a lot of you guys, it's the question of the day is, like, am I even wasting my time? Like, I didn't ever report this. No one knows about this. What's the point of reliving all of this shit? The simple answer is the fuck no, you guys. You are not wasting your time. Everybody is entitled to be compensated for any VA disability, especially the shit that we went through for MST. I don't care if you're a man, if you're a woman, I don't care what rank you're in, and I don't care if you ever documented it. I am going to help you get through this. Everybody deserves this. All right, so how does the VA define MST? So the term military sexual trauma, it just basically means that it was a physical assault of a sexual nature. So someone played grab ass with you, someone just kept hitting on you, someone just did anything that was of sexual nature that you were like, what the fuck are you actually doing? And even the worst of all, the actual rape itself. So that is the difference between, you're going to hear personal assault a lot in the VA world. You're going to hear MST, and you're going to hear PTSD. A lot of those they kind of just mesh all in with each other, but the VA defines MST separately than what they define personal trauma. All right, so how do you file a PTSD claim? How do you file an MST claim? What the hell is the difference? So, unfortunately, the VA does not recognize MST as a disability. So we have to file it as a PTSD claim due to MST. And it's very, very important that you put due to MST, because that sort of triggers hopefully the VA employee to put what's called a special issue on your claim that immediately gets routed to a whole nother RO, because you have to have certain credentials in order to be able to touch an MST claim. And you are not allowed to even touch these claims and develop them if you have not had the proper training. So a lot of people think that you can just file an MST claim, and unfortunately, as I said before, we have to file this under a PTSD claim. All right, so how do we even do this? like, how do I tell the VA, look, man, I was done wrong. Like, I need help. I want to file a claim. So we have to file it under PTSD. And if you've ever been denied for any sort of mental health issue because you didn't know anything about the MST, so you just put depression and then you were denied. We have to go one route, right? And then if you have never, ever, it's been like 20 years, 30 years, 10 years, 5 years, it doesn't even matter. And you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do this. I want to file a claim. And this is your first mental health claim. We're going to go the other route. So the first is, I have never ever done anything with mental health, and that's going to be your 526 EZ. This is your first initial claim. And if you've ever been denied for anything, I spelled anything wrong, you guys. Apologies, I'm just saying that. We're going to go the supplemental route. All right, so if this is your first time filing any mental health related issues, this is a very, very brief overview of what to do. So we're going to go create an account on va.gov. We're going to file an intent to file. That's kind of like a save the date for your wedding, and you're going to file that, and you have 365 days to gather any sort of evidence. And then you will be back paid and for that date that you did the intent to file. va.gov is an absolute pain in the ass to navigate. I'm not even gonna like paint a pretty picture on it. I go on there and it's fucking so infuriating. So just take that with a grain of salt. Once you get in and you've done your intent to file, you're gonna do a new claim. And then we are going to put in the new claim, PTSD due to MST. So we have to also file what's called a VA Form 0781, and that is your overview of everything that happened. And also lay statements from maybe someone that you were very close to in service that knew what you were going through. Maybe you have a husband, maybe you have a wife, maybe you've got your parents that knew something was going on and can see a change in you. Any of your EPRs showing that you were declining, if you had a bad conduct charge, if you had a dishonorable discharge, anything that is going to kind of put a timestamp on, like, well, something's up. This veteran was a kick-ass soldier, and then like something friggin' happened. It's called markers, and I'm not gonna get into it in this video. We're gonna get into it in the next couple videos. Any journal entries, like I said, that you had, anything that can support what we're trying to claim. All right. So if you were denied for any mental health issues, so like I was saying before, if you had no idea what you were doing, because there's not a lot of guidance out there for MST in particular, and you just did depression, and you got denied, no in-service event, and you didn't really have the balls to talk about it at your CMP exam, you were just simply denied. So we have to file what's called a supplemental claim. And the questions to ask yourself are, okay, look at your summary sheet. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can call 1-800-827-1000. And then the person that answers the phone, you're going to have to go through your verification verification process. And after you get in, and the person that, you can actually talk to a human being, you're just simply going to say, I want a copy of all of my summary sheets. And those summary sheets are just the breadcrumbs to find out why you were denied for these mental health issues. So let's just say, for instance, like I said, depression you filed. You didn't want to talk about the MST, so you just talked about the depression. And so say that your denial on that summary sheet was no current diagnosis of depression. That's going to be a separate issue. Let's pretend that you have a diagnosis of depression, but on your summary sheet it says there's no event in service. That's going to be another avenue that we're going to talk about. And if all of this stuff was prior to 2018 and you were denied because it was insufficient evidence or there's no documentation of the assault or whatever, well, now there is a liberalizing law that basically says, yeah, the VA cannot pull that bullshit because most of us never reported the shit because it's embarrassing as fuck. You didn't want to get into trouble. So there's like a different set of rules on that. So I am not going to get into that in this particular video, but I'm doing a whole separate video on that. So just know that if you were denied for anxiety, PTSD, sleep issues, anything like that, we're going to have to file a supplemental claim. All right, so I guess I just want you guys to... This is tough. This is super emotional stuff to talk about. And if you have no idea what you want to do, if you're too scared to do anything, the first thing that I ask any of you guys to do is just to do that intent to file. It gives us a year to prepare your claim. It gives you a year to, I like to, instead of say gather evidence, I like to call it gather the confidence. It took me almost 15 plus years to even accept the fact, A, that it happened to me, and then to be like, fuck, man, we deserve to be compensated for this, you know? So immediately you can go to va.gov and do that intent to file. And that intent to file, if you go on va.gov, you can physically file the intent to file. You can call the 1-800 number, or the third way that the VA recognizes an intent to file is if you start filling out a form and then you just stop and it's kind of like in that like limbo status, that bookmarks that intent to file. So, and then the next video that I'm going to be doing, because I feel like a lot of people are on this, is you never told the soul, and how the hell do you proceed forward like with that? Like how the hell am I going to develop a case where I never fucking told anybody, but my life just crumbled? So I'm going to go over that in very, very detail, and that's probably where a lot of you guys are at. But yeah, so you guys, this is heavy, heavy, heavy shit, and just kind of start thinking about how you want to proceed forward with your claim. What are the details that you can remember? Like, what have you blocked out? Have you talked to anybody about it? How can you, how can you submit a claim that is packed full of punches? Do you have anyone that can write a lay statement for you? So kind of just be thinking about all of that stuff. And it's going to invoke a lot of feelings. And just follow the pain, you guys, and try to start journaling, try to start thinking about stuff. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you guys so much.